Okay, this is as near as I can get to an original tying of the famous barramundi fly known as a pink thing, developed by a guy called Graeme White back in the 70s as an imitation of a pink-headed jig called a vibratail that caught a lot of barramundi. And the fly is a combination of a Lefty's deceiver in the back half and a Blanton whistler in the front half, utilising the collar. And those were the flies that sort of inspired fly ties at the time. It was all they really knew because saltwater fly fishing and fly fishing for barramundi at that time was very much in its infancy. Now you can use whatever eyes you like. The original had bead chain eyes because that was all that was available, but of course these days we have all kinds of eyes. And I've used a fair set of brass eyes on these, and of course you fit the eyes according to the current depth and speed. Okay, so I'm going to start out with some saddle hackles. These aren't great saddles, they're sort of pretty hard to find good saddles these days. I don't worry too much about them being curly or twisted or whatever. Try and get them aligned, sort of four aside. Strip the fluff off them. Line them up, tie them in. Four per side. Just to cock them and stop them fouling, I take a few wraps back here and then under the feathers, just to set them in place, like so. Give them a tweak. Cut the stubs off. Now we're not tying an Atlantic salmon fly here. These are designed to have some bulk and to hold together. Catch a lot of fish on one of them. Proportions aren't hugely critical. Get those feathers straight, sitting properly. Bit of flash in the tail. I like the flash to go slightly longer than the tail. Dan Blanton calls it the flash tail style of fly, so I'll just pull these all to different lengths. And lay them down either side of the feathers like so. Use whatever flash you like. Look, there's no hard and fast rules about how you make this fly. Just that we want to get the back half as a deceiver. So there's the tail. We're going to tie a bucktail collar around that. Now the bucktail collar does a great job of holding the feathers in place, just like in the original. I like to push that down around the hook shank, like so. Nice and even. By putting it in the top, then just push it down around the hook shank and then bind it in. Cut the stubs off. I like doing that after I've tied the bucktail in. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can make this fly. Then a little more flash on top. Here, barramundi are not averse to a bit of flash. Pretty flashy fish. Again, I just taper the ends of the flash, tie that in on top, and again down either side. Then some grizzly hackles. I'm using neck hackle here. There's absolutely no problem with tying in neck hackles for this. You know, pretty simple. There we go. And I tie this in sort of tent style over the top, one either side, and over the top of the fly. I guess in my imagination, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking that that's like the back of a shrimp or a prawn, that segmented effect. No idea what this fly represents, just like all good flies, it represents something edible. You know, it's as simple as that. Cut the stubs off. Okay, now the next addition is a modern one, sort of one of my own. I stick a little collar of this material, a few wraps in there. This is going to be in behind the schlappen feathers. Just peel that back. Now, schlappen is undoubtedly the best material, in my view, for the collar. It's certainly what was tied in the original fly. There's some good webby schlappens here. And I'll select a couple. There's one. Look how soft and webby they are. You can use a cross-cut zonker. You can use all sorts of things for this. Some of the EP dubbing brush, hot pink EP dubbing brush is very good. Just find the right feathers. There we go. Tie them in by the point. I just do one at a time. You want a good bulky collar here. This collar sets up a vortex behind it as you retrieve it and gets those feathers at the back working on a slow retrieve and on a sink. Barramundi lava stopped fly. Chris Bassano, fishing guide mate of mine in Tasmania, made the comment once that he thinks the only reason we move a fly is so we can stop it. And I think that's so true. And on the stop that we so often get the bite, particularly as the fly sinks. Pull that back. Now, that would be pretty much an original pink thing. I'm not even, yeah, I'll stick a second collar in there, give it a little more bulk. A second schlappen. Wound forward of the first. This one's slightly longer, slightly bigger feather, good bulky collar. All taken in behind the eyes. No need to go up through the eyes. There we go. Pick out any that are crossed over. And that essentially is your pink thing. But the thing about it is it's not only a great barramundi fly, it's actually an extraordinary fly in many, many different saltwater situations. And I'd finish off the head with a bit of varnish, a little bit of Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. Simple as that.